dating. Is there a right way or a wrong way to do it? Indeed. Are there any rules at all? Do you get better at it the more you do it, or do you just give up and get married? These are some of the issues that we'll explore today with some people who've been on and off the single scene and dating for a while. We have with us today Ralph Harris, he's a philosopher, Ron Kaufman, an effective communication specialist, Marcus Garrett, who owns a corporate gift service and is also an actress, John Willamette, he's an actor and also a stunt coordinator who runs an operation called Sidekick Stunts. Megan Day is a performance artist. Debbie Hartman is a psychiatric nurse. And Dustin Stevens is an actor, and he's also a former Chippendales dancer. Now I'd like you to meet Karen Ann Knotts. Karen's an actress and a playwright. Karen is single, and she's been dating, and out of her dating experiences has written a play entitled Dates from Hell. Karen, I think we can all relate, but what prompted you particularly to write this play?
Well, I've just been on so many dates. You know, I guess from hell and otherwise, and some from heaven too. And I guess the main thing that I got out of dating is just the experience of dating can be a lot of fun. And it can also be miserable, and I just thought, why don't I write down my thoughts about this, and maybe it'll make some sense out of my life, I guess.
A lot of people really relate. What are some of the dates that got into your play? And you don't have to tell us if they were personal experiences or stories you heard.
Well, people are always asking me if my play is based in real life, and actually, it's just parts of the dates, I guess, that spring into my mind, and then from there my imagination takes over. But I can give you some examples of some dates that I had where, for example, one time I was dating a wonderful athlete, a guy who is a great tennis player, and he's, you know, great body, very good-looking guy. And all.
Do you still have his number?
I'll talk to you gals later on after the show. And I wanted to let him know that I liked him. And so somebody had taken some pictures of him playing in a match, and I had this picture, and I said to him, you know, Ted, I'll use that name for
protect the innocent.
Protect the innocent, that's me. And I said, you know, Ted, I have a picture of you, and if you want to know the truth, I have been staring at this picture of you all week long. And he goes, you have a picture of me? And I said, yes. He goes, well, let me see it. And so I gave him the picture, and he just stood there and stared at it. And I said, well, what do you think? And he said, what I think is, this is not me. And his face just kind of got real serious. He gave me the picture back, got in his car, and drove off.
He was offended. So I guess you feel that you've got to do something with experiences like that.
Exactly. I mean, when something gives you a feeling so low, you just want to kill yourself, you think, why not write this into a play? And I actually used that as the basis for a date in my play. It didn't come out exactly that way, but the same basic idea is there.
And what it sort of makes me wonder what some of the experiences were that didn't get into your play, but we might talk about those a little bit later on. Now, some of today's guests are also going to perform monologues from Karen's play. I'd like you to meet a character called Alicia. Now, Alicia's going to explore the issue of dates that can be a little bit dangerous.
I didn't always use the dating service to meet men. I used to just follow my instincts. Like the time that I met the FBI agent when I was waitressing at the Palomino. He took me out for a night on the town. We went to one of those really classy, unassuming little places off Pico near Melrose. We were eating dinner. Suddenly, he leans over towards me and says, "You see those two guys over there with beards, carrying briefcases, speaking Farsi?" I said, "Yes, what about them?" He said, "Let's follow them." "Why should we do that?" "Because they're jerks and I want to make their lives miserable." So we followed them. Up Mulholland, down Mulholland, across the LA River, through that vast expanse of land known as the Beverly Hills Civic Center. Finally, they led us to a drive-through McDonald's. Now, if you've ever seen machine gun fire into a clown's mouth, you know this can kill your appetite. At about 4 a.m., when the police and Mr. Wonderful had finally departed, I started thinking to myself, this has just been the most exciting night of my whole life. What the hell was it all about?
Megan, thanks for playing the part of Alicia. Is there something in this experience that you can relate to from your own dating experiences?
Unfortunately.
Tell us the story, tell us.
Well, I went out on a date with this guy who wasn't normally someone I would regularly date, and I had the best first date that I ever had. I mean, it was so much fun. It was one of those that just lasted forever. And so we went out again. And the second date, he showed me a 24-karat gold-plated gun and said that jokingly that the biggest Don in town had given it to him because they shared the same last name, and it was his joke. But he hated guns.
My God.
And on the third date, I happened to be in his study, and I found a sawed-off shotgun. And I don't know. It just kind of
So that's
spoke
when
to
you
me at that
decided
point.
that was enough for that date.
Yeah, I just decided that there was only so much lying one could do to oneself. And,
Actually, Dusty, you've got a really scary story about a date that you went on. Could you tell us about it?
Well, you're talking about my ex?
Yes.
Um,
It changed
meeting-
your life.
Yeah, it changed my life, changed my whole life, yeah. Actually, I'd been dating her for a while. And she would just call me up, come over, and I'd find that, you know, kind of convenient. Until she said that she was pregnant and she had my baby. And, well, I have a 4-year-old child now. I've been supporting for a long time. But the problem was, I ran into her ex-husband at a party, and I found out that she had stalked me. She literally told him, he told me this at a party. He said, he came up to me and said literally, Karen did nothing but talk about having my baby.
And you had
while
no
he was married
idea.
to her.
And you had no idea that she was that she had this type of mind or was dangerous. Debbie, you've got a story about something that happened to you one night that fortunately wasn't quite as devastating. Well, it hasn't changed your life. It's not devastating to have a child, Dusty, at all. I mean, that's a good thing that came out of it. But I guess we're talking about the dangers of not knowing people. Debbie?
Yeah. I met a very misleading guy. He seemed to have all the trimmings that most women would go for. He was handsome and intelligent. He had written a book. And I was moving at the time, and he came over, and I barely knew him. He helped me pack boxes. He schlepped stuff all around the place for me. And I just thought, you know, what a decent guy. He had told me that his wife left him after 2 months of marriage, and I thought, what a silly woman. You know, how would anyone meet such a nice guy? How would anyone leave such a nice guy? Anyway, he had taken me to dinner, and we were just driving back on the way home, and I said, can you shut the window, please? He had this very explosive temper and said, you women can't do anything for yourselves, you're just like my ex-wife, and he started to yell at me. And I said, can you take me home now, please? And he said, no, in fact, you can walk. So I had to walk home at midnight by myself.
Right, so dating isn't just all the fun that it that it seems to those people that are married out there.
Unless you like walking.
Unless you like walking. Ralph, a one-liner, what's your philosophy on this, just quickly?
Well, it's like what people look to each other for. I mean, you have people who don't know each other looking at each other for something that they're not clear on what they want, the other person isn't clear on what it is they have to give, and they bump in the night, and you know, what's going to happen? A lot of it's going to be dates from hell.
So a lot of it, and
most of it's going to be dates from hell. I say stop dating. No, don't date. Get to know people, make friends.
Okay, thank you.
Stop dating.
Thank you. All right, now another character from Dates from Hell is Jeff. Now, Jeff's character looks at the issue of making a wish list of the perfect partner, the person that you think that you want, but they may not always be exactly what they seem.
Hi, my name is Jeff, And I'm looking for a woman who's fun-filled and isn't afraid to share intimacy. I'm looking for someone who likes to work on a relationship. I have a lot to offer. I have a decent job, and I love kids. I'm sensitive and I'm nurturing. I have life insurance and a retirement plan. I'm also a very honest guy, and I have to level with you. I'm gay. And
Right.
well,
So,
thank you.
John,
If my family ever found out I was gay, they would cut me off, and I don't think I could handle that. So, if you don't mind the other stuff, and it's not important to you, let me know. I'll treat you like a queen, and no one will ever know. Thank you.
And you can treat me like a queen. Yeah.
all right, John. Can you relate to the? You're not gay. I must say this from the start, only because there may be men out there that want to date you, and also.
Oh,
so we won't
that's
make that.
yeah.
Okay. So, but can you relate to the experience of having a wish list of the person that you want to date, and then dating somebody completely different?
Yeah. Basically, the character of Jeff, I like the qualities that he has and the qualities that he's looking for, but I think it's kind of unfair sometimes to put high expectations on a female, and
Now-
sometimes it doesn't always work out.
You had what sort of women do you like, and what sort of women? I believe you ended up dating somebody completely different.
Well, I prefer Asian women, not the only women, but I kind of have a thing towards Asian women and Hispanic. And blondes being on the bottom of my list, unfortunately. And one of my lady friends,
I'm sorry.
one of my lady friends who was blonde and Caucasian, eventually it turned into a 4-year relationship. But I think when I had mentioned, she had asked me the same thing, what kind of women do you like? I had mentioned, well, in that order. And she always had that against me. It was, anytime we argue, well, you like Asian women. You never really did like me. I says, no, but I've adjusted.
Throw away the wish list. Now, you'd think that if you were going through some kind of system where you were telling people what you did and didn't like, you'd find the perfect partner. But Marcus, you had an experience that didn't prove that to be the case.
I did. I was on the dating game, and I selected a gentleman, and he started to postpone the trip. So I said to him one day, we need to take the trip, and he said to me, well, do you think you could take the trip with your date and I could take the trip with my date? Well, it couldn't be that way. There was only one. Well, he opted not to take the trip. So I had just met a man who was here from Canada, and I asked him if he would like to go to Denmark, and he said yes. Well, I slept all the way there.
I'd say yes.
Yes, I slept all the way on the plane. I was totally rested when we arrived in Denmark. Myself, the chaperone, and my date. He was exhausted, and I was ready to have fun. So the chaperone and I went out.
So it doesn't always work out. Even when you're matched on a dating game, it may not work out. Ron, have you had an experience like that where you thought it was a perfect person and it just didn't turn out to be, just quickly?
No.
No. Thank you very much.
No, I'm very perceptive. What I think they are, usually that's what they are, yeah.
Terrific. Okay. Well, there's another character in the play. Her name is Suzanne. Now, Suzanne, she deals with a different issue, and she deals with the issue of still feeling inadequate without a partner. Even though you may have the best accomplishments, the greatest CV and everything in the world, but without a partner, there's still that feeling that you haven't quite made it.
I can remember this commercial for a long time. It's a television commercial about a man and a woman staring fondly in each other's eyes, sharing a cup of coffee. Somehow the brand of coffee has changed, but the message is always there. You're nobody unless you're in a relationship. Let's just say you made this outstanding invention, a benefit to mankind. The president calls you at home and says, congratulations, you have done something so substantial in this life. You've made gasoline, substitute gasoline out of avocados. You're going to change the face of humanity. We're no longer going to be in a budget deficit. You're going to reduce pollution. It's just really amazing. Too bad you don't have a guy, though.
Thanks a lot.
No,
We
Give me the patent and I'll marry you.
we appreciate you doing that for us. Debbie, how do you relate from your dating experience? How do you relate to the feeling that when you don't have a guy, you just don't feel like a whole person?
It's funny because when you live in Los Angeles, it kind of, being single, it becomes like a ghetto. You know, all your friends are single, therefore you don't really feel any different. However, when you go back to your hometown or you're amongst your school friends that are all happily married with children, I feel somehow they kind of feel sorry for me that I'm missing out. And really, you know, there are times that I get sad and alone, but most of the time, you know, if you have a sort of a jet-set lifestyle and you have very positive friends around you, you can really have a nice time and also feel fulfilled without a marriage and children.
Dusty, what about as a male? Do you find that if you're not in a relationship, you people treat you differently or look at you as less?
Yeah. It's like they expect you to be in a relationship. It's like part of the social norm to have somebody.
Ron, have you had times when you may not have been in a relationship that you really felt left out because you weren't in a relationship, not because of anything about you?
No.
Okay.
We don't believe him anymore.
Yes. I'm always in some kind of a relationship or other. I mean, if I'm not dating someone where it's going for a long-term, perhaps lifelong situation, I'm dating people I used to go out with. I'm dating friends, so I'm usually dating someone. So.
Do you feel that you are constantly dating somebody because you may feel that if you're not, there's something lacking?
No, I just like to date, right? I like to be with people. I like to go out. I like to socialize. I like all the other things that goes along with it.
It's a dating kind of guy.
Feels good, yeah.
Ralph, what's your perspective on this?
Well, more human silliness there. I mean, you know, you're born alone, you die alone, you go through life alone. You can create these illusions that you have another person, and I have this person, and I own a person. You don't. You never do. And if you can give up the pressure of everybody else around you, the social pressure that monologue happens to point up, you begin to realize, you know, that we're living in a world where nobody really has a clue. And to take the bad guesses of the people who are around you and apply them to yourself is no good. So find yourself, find who you want to be, then follow that course.
Here.
These philosophers are all alike.
It's easy. It's right. Stop dating.
Megan, do you mind being between dates from time to time?
Oh, just put a big 3 on my forehead. Like the third wheel queen, or the fifth wheel. I like to be, you know, kind of adjustable here and go back and forth. Most of the time, you know, as Debbie says, in Los Angeles, it's kind of the norm. But at the same time, I go home, or I have friends all over the United States, and you're just like this giant pariah because you're single, you're a slut. And
What an interesting distinction.
sorry, I'm not my fifth child.
Hang on, does that mean that you have more sex when you're not dating? Sorry.
I mean, I'm on my way to the condo, I swear.
More of that.
I believe you, but it's like, you know, I laugh because my other joke is I'm a reigning social disease. I can't date anyone unless they live 1,000 or 2,000 miles away. And I do. All of my relationships are
Far away. And that's a show all unto itself. The last character that we want to take a look at from Karen's play is Joey. Now, she explores the issue of the fact that you have constant excitement and constant change when you're dating. And perhaps this sort of change is what is actually inhibiting having a real commitment. So, Marcus, would you like to do the part of Joey for us, for your monologue? Thanks.
If people aren't ready for relationships, they'll make up all kinds of excuses for not having one. People should stop looking to others for guidance for their relationships. Therapists are not perfect people, except for me. Well, I'm almost perfect. I can listen to my friends endlessly about their relationships, give them great advice on how to solve their problems, miracle cures, and best of all, I enjoy being single. I love the excitement of variety, of not knowing what's around the corner. Even if it's a date from hell.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marcus. It really is hard to just get up and do that. So I want to thank you for doing that for us. And I know that you have had a great time on your dates because we're talking about it before. Do you think that's part of what stops people from making a commitment because there's always something new and exciting happening?
Oh, it could, but also, yeah, I think so. But I also feel that you can have that in a relationship, that you could actually date the person that you're with, that you're involved with. I think that that you could do that as well.
Right.
Although variety is quite nice.
Ron, how do you feel about the constant change and the excitement level that you get when you date that people may perceive may not be in a committed relationship?
For me, it's the opposite. I really feel the excitement is when you're with one person, when you've got that commitment, you've got that knowing, the trust, all the things that go with it, that expectation level.
Right.
That to the predictability, that to me is where it really gets exciting. And you constantly do different things in different ways, and each person can make a contribution to the relationship and keep it exciting.
Debbie, what about your dating relationships? Do you feel it's sort of exciting being single, or are you just about ready to?
You know, it was. I really enjoyed the fact of getting spruced up for a date and just it's as you said, that it's not what you have, it's around the corner. It's what's around the corner that's much more exciting. However, now I just feel like I want a comfort zone and stability in my life, and it's nice having depth.
Now, Ralph, I know you're heavily into just dating, although you don't call it dating. Just give us a quick take on the excitement in and out of relationships.
I don't get it. I don't understand the concept of monogamy. I mean, I understand it. I don't agree with it. It's silly to look to one person for all of your happiness. I don't want anybody to be responsible for my happiness, and I don't want the responsibility of carrying around another person's happiness. I think that you can truly love everybody around you. You really, really can. If you stop looking at each other as gender, if we don't think of each other as male and female and take the perspective that the human beings live up here, that we're all up here, and that sex is a part of it, yeah, but it's so blown out of proportion, we've become so neurotic that we've got to get back to looking at each other as humans, and sex is just a part of life.
And then dating is something which is separate apart from sex. Okay,
People
got
talk
it.
about dating, nobody talks about sex, it's all about sex, you know.
Okay.
But it's foreign, you guys don't care.
These are wild-eyed ideas.
I understand,
You see, you have to
okay.
understand
Well,
that.
the subject of dating seems to be just as diverse as the people that we're actually finding out there to date. It seems to be a process that's necessary to finding a mate, however. So perhaps you can become a little bit more enlightened by going to see the world premiere of Karen Ann Knott's new play, Dates from Hell. Karen, could you just quickly tell us when the play opens and where people can go to see it?
Yes, the play is opening September 15th and plays through September 24th at the Huntington Beach Playhouse, and is being directed by Phil DeBarros and is produced by Kent Johnson. So please come see it. I think you'll have a fun time.
Right, and and I believe that you're writing a sequel, and that some of these people will be used in.
Well,
the
you
sequel
better
as well.
believe it. I've got more material here than I had anticipated.
Okay, Dusty, I didn't quite get to you before because of your experiences. Do you still find an excitement in dating that?
Chippendales dancing.
Well, I had a lot of dates when I was at Chippendales, obviously, and I'm a lot older now. You know, you pick and choose now a lot more. Personally speaking, now I'm really very picky now.
Right.
But not too choosy.
Not too choosy.
Jan, what about your dating? What about your dating experience? Do you find that you're dating for shorter periods of time or longer periods of time now that you're getting older and you want to find someone?
That depends on the girl's personality. I don't really go in with any preconceived notions. I just don't want to enter the friend zone.
Right, the friend zone is something to say right away.
That's the one.
Right, now, you seem to, Ralph, your friend zone seemed to be way open here.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I approach everybody, from my personal standpoint, is I just lay all my cards on the table. I found when I was very young, walking down the street, seeing somebody I was physically attracted to, and I knew exactly what I wanted, and she knew what I wanted, and everybody around knew exactly what I wanted, and I had to go up to her and say, can I buy you a cup of coffee? How about a drink? You want to go to anything? But I couldn't say the truth. And I thought,
And the truth was, I just want your body.
well, that's what I was interested in. I didn't know
I
this
understand.
person. I didn't know anything. And there was something inherently wrong in a set of rules that does not allow you to speak the truth. And I think
Okay.
that relationships get bad, one quick moment, because they're founded on why?
Dishonesty, okay. Well, I want to thank Karen and I want to thank everyone who's joined us for sharing their thoughts and their experiences. Until next time, I'm Lily Steiner, and thank you for joining us.
You would thank me?
I would. It's good to have a different opinion.
Feel about this?